Somebody made a comment in a video recently that sparked this whole train of thought for me. They said, you shouldn't send everything to the mix bus, to be honest. Some things should go straight to the master bus, FX being an example. I'm actually going to interpret what I think they mean after we discuss something that's very critically important. The mix bus just means the last bus. The last final boss bus. I'm not even blaming the person for the comment. I'm blaming the fact that there's people out there that are giving information that's master bus is somehow different than the mix bus. They're the same thing. But where this problem stems from is actually the fact that if you take a bunch of guitars and put them together, that's the guitar bus. But some people refer to that as the guitar mix bus, or even worse, the mix bus. They call that a mix bus. They call each instrument's bus, the keyboards all together on a keyboard bus, they call that another mix bus for keyboards. So they're just making it more complicated because they're adding mix bus when mix bus only means the final place that everything gets combined. That's all it means. When we're mixing a song, the mix bus is the final place everything gets combined. If you're mastering a song, then the mastering process, that could be a master bus, all right? But we're splitting hairs at this point because the understanding is that there's one final place everything gets put together. And from there, you either print your track or from there, you bounce your track. You know, that's the channel that you select that you want everything to be bounced from. It's only those, that's all it could be. Like, that's it. On a console, it's the physical wire where everything gets sent to. That's the place, the mix bus. So what I'm saying is, what I think this person meant by this comment, allow me to what's it, steelman this argument. Or, it's a term I heard on that, Eric Weinstein, Terrence Howard, Joe Rogan podcast. I'd never heard the term before, but I like the term, so I may throw it in there sometimes. I think what he meant was, if your master bus is the last bus, then your mix bus would have to get sent there also. So you're basically saying that you're not running your effects through the SSL compressor and EQ on your mix bus, is kind of what he's saying, right? But I don't do that. Andrew Sheps doesn't do that. Mark Daniel Nelson doesn't do that. And I'm not trying to speak for everyone, but I've never actually seen someone do the way you describe. It may be okay. There may be nothing wrong with it, but I don't do it. And that's certainly not something I recommend doing. And this applies on all skill levels. It's not like beginner or intermediate should do one and everyone should do another. It's really not that at all. It's just the fact that by combining everything at the end in one bus and using a compressor on that bus, whether you call it a mix bus or a master bus or a syllabus or an ice cream bus, it doesn't matter. By combining it all on one track and using the processing to take your reverbs and all your effects that get sent there also to the same place, that's what gives you the glue and the cohesive sound. It's all there. This is the same thing CLA does. He runs his effects, because if you think about it, anybody who uses a console understands this completely, because there's only one place that everything winds up all together. It doesn't wind up in multiple places all together. There's one final place everything goes, and you can call that anything you want. But my point is, that's the final destination. That's the boss bus. And it just gets confusing when people use different terms for everything. Now, somebody else asked a question saying, do you ever parallel process your mix bus? I don't. It's not something I do. I did at one time experiment with the idea of using distortion in parallel next to my mix bus. I never liked it. I always felt like it was just messing me up for no reason. I just would compare the difference, never liked it. I would try like a really crushed signal next to my mix bus, didn't like that either. I feel like all that stuff happens for me on each of the instrument buses or on the tracks themselves before they get to the instrument buses, so that I'm basically getting the sound I want into the mix bus, and on my mix bus, there's one place where everything is. Now, I use summing, so I have a whole chain that I go through when it comes out of the computer into the summing mixer, into the master bus processor, and through the SSL Fusion right now, I'm also using into the burl back into the computer. So by using this stuff, notice it's called a master bus processor, but it's a mix bus situation we're doing. That's what I mean by like the terms are interchangeable. All it means is your final destination. So it goes, my stuff actually goes out from the bus level through my summing, then into the chain, then back into the computer, then it hits the mix bus in the computer and gets whatever effects there, then it gets printed. So that's the way my stuff works, and I always say printed because I never bounce to disk. I always have to run it in real time because I'm using analog summing. That's the main reason. I'm going through analog gear, so it has to run in real time. Now, somebody else asked a great question about where to put their metering. In other words, where do they put their LUFS metering? The answer for that is always at the end. There's no good reason to put LUFS metering anywhere prior to the very last thing, because that's really what you're looking at when you're trying to judge LUFS. And when you're judging LUFS, it's always based on integrated. In other words, the long-term value is all that matters. You really don't care about anything else, because that value is specifically used so you know approximately how loud you are based on the last song you did and the one before that and the one before that. It gives you an average that you're looking at, and that's really all you care about when it comes to LUFS. The momentary LUFS doesn't matter. It's actually a very slow moving measurement, the LUFS. It's not really relevant. I want to show you the receipts on the fact that most people send their stuff. Most, like Andrew Sheps being an extreme pro, like we all know, he sends his stuff. Like, look at this vocal verb here. Check this out. See vocal verb? Where's it going? Mix bus. That's what this is. Let me blow this up so you could see it. Vocal verb, mix bus. His slap, mix bus. These are his effects. I mean, look. Vocal verb, slap, stereo vocal crush. Check it out. Stereo vocal crush, mix bus, slap, mix. It's all going to the mix bus. Even the rear bus. Look, rear bus. Where do you think his rear bus goes? Rear bus is his parallel compression stuff. Rear bus, mix bus. It all's got to wind up at the same place. So that's what's going on. It all has to get there. His spread, mix bus. So what I'm saying is, and it's no matter where you go in his session, this right here, look, verb, see verb, that's another effect, mix bus. So it's all goes to one place. Now he could, or any other mixing engineer could call that master bus if they want, but it's the same thing. It's just the final bus. That's what they're saying. So, and I'm just trying to show you that everybody sends their effects, or I'm not, it's not everybody, sorry. He does, I do, CLA does. Most people who've used consoles, they work in the same way. Mark Daniel Nelson does. They're sending their effects along with their tracks to their final processing, which happens on a mix bus. So they're not doing it separate in parallel next to it. They're not doing that. So I don't recommend you guys do that either. It's like this in his whole session. Snare verb. See, like I like going deep. Check this out. Snare verb. If you look at this, it says bus 23 goes to bus 3-4. See, I try to be thorough with this stuff. So I'm like, ooh, that's different. Bus 3-4. What's bus 3-4? And then what you'll notice if you look at this, toms, check this out. Tom 3, bus 3-4. Hi-hat, bus 3-4. So I was like, ooh, that must be the drum bus. Must be. And I keep digging. Where's my digging? I'm digging. So look at this. Drums. Check it out. Drums, bus 3-4. So that's it. So, like, in other words, you could actually do what I'm doing when you're watching tutorials and pause stuff and go deep with it and figure out how people got stuff routed. That's really the only way to get thorough and really learn how to do this stuff. So he's got all his drums, including that snare verb that I checked out. See, the snare verb goes to bus 3-4. This is bus 3-4. It's the drums, just like his rooms, bus 3-4, bus 3-4. And that goes, guess where? Mix bus. See what I'm saying? Bus 3-4 goes to the mix bus. So like I'm saying, everything goes to the mix bus. All right? I hope that helps you guys a lot. Let me know what you guys use, and if you agree, if you don't, I'd love to hear it either way. I appreciate it. Take care. Evan Jaffe, Custom Cut Studios. Subscribe if you haven't already. Tons more to come. You guys got this. Take it easy.